Danny was exploring the old part of the city when he stumbled upon a forgotten library. Its wooden doors cracked and covered in dust. Curiosity pulled him inside. The air was thick with the smell of old paper and damp wood. The shelves stood tall, filled with books no one had touched for decades. At first, it felt like a treasure trove of knowledge, but the silence was too heavy, as if the building itself was holding its breath. As Danny wandered deeper, he thought he heard whispers. At first faint, like a breeze brushing past his ear, but then clearer. The voices seemed to come from between the shelves. He froze when he saw a pair of pale glowing eyes watching him from the gaps between dusty books. The moment he blinked, the eyes were gone, leaving only silence, broken by the faint flicker of a candle that hadn't been lit by him. Danny walked quickly toward the main hallway, but the shadows around him began to move. They slid along the walls, stretching unnaturally long. The light bulb above him flickered, making the corridor seem endless. He could hear footsteps following him, though no one was there. Every time he turned, the hallway was empty, but the sound never stopped. It was as if the library itself was alive, watching him. At the very end of the corridor, Danny found a door half open. He hesitated but stepped inside. The room was filled with black-covered books, lined neatly on the shelves. On the walls, hundreds of old photographs of students stared back at him, yet their faces looked blurry, almost scratched away. On the table, melted candles dripped onto the wood. He felt as if all the eyes in the pictures were watching him, whispering in voices he couldn't quite understand. Suddenly, the shelves began to creak and collapse, blocking the exit behind him. The whispers grew louder, turning into screams. Danny ran, but the corridor stretched longer and longer, like a maze with no end. At the far end, he saw a glowing door, his only escape. But when he glanced at the glass case beside him, his reflection was no longer his own. It was a twisted, monstrous version of himself, grinning back in the dark. Would Danny ever leave the library? Or would he become one of its forgotten shadows forever?